Yo everyone! What an intro. Welcome back. This is episode 6 of Watching Chinese Horror Movie Intros. This is the series where we watch the first couple of minutes of some Chinese horror movies because usually the intros are the best parts of the movies, and then we talk about the film, talk about, the intro and the actual film itself, if I've seen it, why it's so crazy and crappy. Anyway, I am the Artie Dans, and like I said, this is episode 6. I'm gonna cut the bullshit. We'll just get straight into it. Tonight, I've got 4 clips for you, as always. However, one of them's a bit long, so this might be a longer episode than normal. The movies we're going to look at, now I've seen 3 of the 4 of them. So the movies we're going to look at are The Door, Scary Road is Fun, Lost Mind, I think that's what that one's called, and Diamond Anxiety. Diamond Anxiety is the long one, so we'll do that last. So let's get started. Let's go straight into The Door.
记得你是谁吗？
让我想想，我在想。
把药吃了，你会好受一些。你还记得什么？
小壁虎正在墙上爬着玩，一条大青蛇爬过来，咬住它的尾巴不放。
So I've seen reviews of The Door that are not very positive about it. I actually quite liked this movie. A couple things to address about that intro. Firstly, I didn't get any errors in the audio there. There is actually that duplicate audio track running in the background of that person talking. Secondly, when did lightning and thunder become such a big thing in Chinese horror movies that they constantly put it in? And they do it in such a way that it is so comedic and not scary at all. That intro, I feel, was ruined by that lightning, that thunder and lightning in the background. So The Door is a very interesting movie. Because it is one of the very, very rare Chinese slasher films. And that's why I was given this movie a few years ago to look at. And I thought, well, this is pretty cool because it was a slasher. You don't get that sense from watching that intro, clearly. You see a woman in a psychiatry hospital. And if you know the rules about Chinese horror movies, being a bit nuts is one of the reasons ways it ends. So at least the movie flat out is telling you at the start, the woman's nuts. What the movie is about is a group of filmmakers go to this abandoned factory to shoot a scene for a movie at night. And while they're there, something is stalking them down and killing them. There's also a child there on set as well. The child kind of plays a bit of a significant part of the film. And then there's that woman. So, what appears to be a slasher, and it is a slasher, if you ignore the ending, it is a slasher, ends up being a psychiatry therapy session. And that's actually a theme of another one of the movies that we're looking at in this episode here, therapy psychiatry sessions. In fact, I probably should have found 4 clips that were all to do with the same theme. That would have probably been a bit more fun. Anyway, that's The Door. Now, as I said, I like The Door. I think it's in regards to Chinese horror films, it's actually one of the better ones. And the fact that it's a slasher makes it pretty exciting. It's actually a little grisly too. There's quite a bit of blood in the movie. So, it's not gore fountains and splash of blood everywhere. But if you like a bit of blood with your horror movies, especially with your slashers, then that's probably one I can recommend to you. So that's The Door. I can't remember what year that's from. It's a fairly old. It's probably about a decade old, that film. Probably really hard to find. So you probably do want to watch it now and you're thinking, oh crap, how the hell do I find it? My apologies on that one. Now let's get into something called Scary Road is Fun. And I've got a little bit of a story about this film. But first let's watch the intro and then we'll get back to it.
因山弄石里班道今天早晨再次发生重大交通事故。从调取的影像资料来看，一辆正常行驶的汽车忽然失灵，冲向旁边废弃的油桶，发生爆炸。
阿伟啊，这已经是今年这条路石里湾发生的第3起事故了。他们外面传闻说这里面有个冤死的女鬼哦，专门找单独开车的男人。
Wow. So, it's not going to be a stretch to tell you that I've shown you the best part of the movie. And all you saw was a couple seconds of a bit of video and then an animated intro. Now, this is the reason why I wanted to show it to you, because I actually liked the animated intro. I thought that's the best part of the whole movie. And my story with the movie is that I only watched about half of it because it was so annoyingly bad that I gave up. The movie's a comedy. It's comedy horror. So it still tries to have those elements of horror. And in fact, I don't even know how this movie ends. So I don't actually know the the theory behind the road and why so many people die on the road. I think it kind of gave a bit of a hint to it in that comic at the start about insurance fraud. But really, the movie is for very young people, teenagers, 14, 15, 16, who think this kind of loud noises and annoying characters are cool and they can relate to it. Because the reason I gave up is because that music that you heard in the intro, there's so many different variants of it all the way through, and it just gets tedious. Constantly hear music, and there's some very annoying characters in this film. I believe there is like some journalist type character, and then there's this whole bunch of people at a restaurant. Like I said, memory is fairly vague on this one because I only watched half of it, but I just remember tapping out because of just the incessant noise that this movie throws at you. There's potential that there could have been something good there. Could have been a very good comedy horror there, and maybe if I'd have stuck at it, I would have seen that. But like I said, that intro is really the best part of it. Some great graphics in that intro, some very creative way that intro is made. And it's got that great theme of driving down that bendy, stretchy, twisty road. You get these elements of first person, or kind of the car games where you're in the driver's seat going down the windy road. And then that big kind of demon thing at the end with the cackling mouth. They look great. And again, like I said, best part of the movie is that. Also, did you check out, if you can remember, the subtitles at the start are hilariously bad English. So horribly translated. And it was probably another reason why I tapped out of the film, because it was getting hard to kind of decipher what they were actually trying to say in those subtitles. So Scary Road is fun, is one that I would completely avoid unless you like super annoying comedy horrors. Comedy horrors. I don't think there's anything funny about the film. Now we're going to get on to the movie that I haven't seen. This is Lost Mind. I'm going in completely blind. I don't even think I've only skimmed through the intro to find the point where to cut it. So I actually haven't paid any attention to what's in this video. So let's check it out for the first time together.
自从搬来这里，梦开始变得比以前还多了。
爱情，我们回家吧。
北方强冷空气已经开始影响本市，未来3天气温将持续下降，天气以晴冷为主。气象台呼吁市民尽早做好保暖防寒措施。
爱情。 待会吃饭之前，记得要吃药啊。
知道了。
So quite obvious looking at that one, that is a movie about mental illness and, movie about people suffering from mental illnesses. Also, did you notice that she had a bit of a slit on her wrist then? So clearly, and then the reference to her taking her pills, clearly that we know that there is some kind of mental illness angle in this film. The movie also probably makes very clear intention, being called Lost Minds. I think you know what you're going to get with that film. That one doesn't look very exciting to me. Although, I didn't mind the bit at the start with the little girl and, typical little screamy bits. But otherwise, I'm not sure that there is much about that film that would take my interest in wanting to watch the whole thing. However, did you notice towards the end of the clip when they're driving down the bridge that looked a little awkward? And I'm pretty sure that was all CGI. The car driving scenes all looked CGI. Now, if you want, go back and have a quick look at what that looked like. But, firstly, a bit of an arsehole thing when you're in the middle of a 3 or 4 lane highway on a bridge to drive so slow and then all of a sudden speed up when the car overtakes you. But just the way that the cars moved around, sped up, slowed down, it was very clear that they were not real cars and that was all done via some type of CGI. So, fair effort for managing to find a bridge like that you could actually shoot empty and then put your cars over the top of it. But maybe try a little bit better next time, because it didn't quite look that good. It's a bit obvious. Lost Minds. I really don't know what else to say about the film, because I haven't seen it, and nothing about that takes my interest in it. You know straight away it's going to have that mental illness angle, so you think, what's the point of watching it? So it's a bit of a nothing film. Now, I believe I got that one off YouTube, so you could probably just type in Lost Minds Chinese horror movie and find that on YouTube if you were so inclined to want to watch it, but I doubt very much you will. Now onto the last clip. This is a long one. I'm looking at my timeline here. It looks to be about 8-9 minutes. Now, the reason it's long is because there was no natural intro to this film. So what you'll see when this clip starts is the credits will pop up, the movie title will pop up rather quickly. And I've left the first 2 or 3 scenes in the film because those are the scenes that kind of set up what this movie's about. So this is called Diamond Anxiety. Let's check it out.
珠宝和人之间的缘分，有时候就像爱情一样，茫茫人海中，你在寻找着他，他也在等待着你。当你无论从气质、性格还有习惯上都完全依赖于他，那他就是你最好的伴侣，而不仅仅只是一枚钻戒了。就好像这枚一样，它的净度极佳，切工精湛，设计的精美考究。 优雅大气又凌厉夺目，所以啊，它注定是属于你的。只要你带上它，你的人生就会丰富多彩起来。
好美啊！我要了。
你喜欢就好。想喝一杯吗？
不用了。你好。
嗯。
说真的，咱们学校我最没有想到会成功的人就是你。可是想不到你居然能设计出这么漂亮的钻戒，真的挺让我刮目相看的。
不只是你，全校的人都没想到，连我自己都没想到。其实每个人都有自己的过往，那些经历注定会改变你的一生。娜娜，说真的，我的成功离不开你的信任和帮助，所以我不会让你失望的。不好意思啊，我接个电话。鲍轩，给于小姐倒杯茶。喂。
你看于小姐那身得值多少钱啊？
怎么也得10几万吧。
真是有钱人。
于小姐，请喝茶。
别碰我！
对不起，他是新来的，对不起。
娜娜，怎么了？
丁总，我……
鲍轩，你怎么回事啊？行了，去忙吧。
不好意思，丁总。
娜娜，你怎么了？
刚刚那个人是？
他是新来的员工啊。
他叫什么？
包小轩。
包小轩。好。
他怎么了？
没事，我先走了啊。
你
戒指很漂亮，谢谢。
阿姨买看看，怎么这样子了？
娜娜。
恶心他呀！
真搞不懂丁总为什么要雇佣这个样子的员工。你看他脸上那疤，多吓人！还恬不知耻地跑上去给于小姐献殷勤，真够。
经重伤昏迷了，你们赶紧过来啊！于总，于总，于总，于总。
Diamond anxiety. So the reason I let that go so long is because I wanted to get to the bit where the lady steals the diamond ring, because that's the whole point of the film. Doesn't feel like a horror movie, does it? And in fact, it's not. It's one of those weird thriller type movies that ends up with everything's a dream. It's all a bit of a mental illness. It's all part of the lady's therapy for a bullying incident that occurred in the university. That actual university scene, I believe, is the only real bit of the whole film. Everything else is to do with bullying and suicide and all this other kind of stuff that towards the end kind of makes no sense. It's part of a therapy session. It's actually a really disappointing ending. What happens once you've stuck with that whole movie? Now, if I remember correctly, I believe there is a scene in this film where someone dons a hockey mask, very similar to Jason from Friday the 13th. I have to recheck this, but I'm pretty sure there's a scene towards the end where there is a guy in a mask. So what is the hell is Diamond Anxiety about? Well, what happens after that scene that we stopped at where she takes the diamond? She then walks into this club, and all of a sudden this diamond, or in the mirror, she sees the other woman. She doesn't see herself. And so she takes her identity and she starts living this life of absolute luxury because she's stolen the other woman's identity. Now, remembering that a lot of this kind of makes no sense, but remembering that because it's part of a therapy session, all these plot holes get ignored. Things that just make zero sense in the film are thrown out the window because, hey, plot holes. Hey, mental illness and therapy session. There is something to do in this movie about the guy who designs the diamond ring, which you saw him at the start scribbling and then theatrically throwing the paper in the air. There's something to do with him and some abandoned house. That's where the Jason mask thing comes in. And the fact that all of these people are super connected to each other, again, makes sense at the end because the therapy session reveals everything. But that's Diamond Anxiety. Now, this movie was one of the very first Chinese horror movies that I ever watched. After, I think it was Marionette Teacher, Haunted Dormitory. And I thought I'll get on a bit of a binge. Maybe these are Chinese horror movies are good. And this was just a horrible introduction to watching Chinese horror. This film was just utterly bad, as you could imagine. The whole film just is like this. The gross reaction to someone because they've got a scar on their face. I mean, it's not even a bad scar, and she reacts like the woman's missing half of her face. And then the director and the editor have tried to do something clever by doing those really quick bullet shotgun cuts, especially that one where she's going really close to the camera. But she's not ugly. The scar's not that bad. I don't get the issue with it. Anyway, Diamond Anxiety. So we've watched 4 intros in this episode. We've seen The Door, Scary Road is Fun, Lost Minds, Diamond Anxiety. I've seen 3 of the 4. So if I was to rate them at the top, definitely The Door. That's the one you should absolutely go watch out of all of them. Then there would be Daylight underneath it, as in like years of daylight underneath before I would ever recommend watching Diamond Anxiety or Scary Road is Fun, and I don't know anything about Lost Minds, and I have no intention to ever watch that. So a bit of a write-off this episode in regards to good horror movies, but I think the intros were kind of fun to watch. I'm the Artie Dance. Thank you for watching this episode, episode 6 of this. Most of these views tend to happen a few days after this episode's premiered, so I look forward to seeing how you guys have interacted with this episode and see which ones you liked. Don't forget to drop a comment down below. That really helps out with just understanding what you guys are enjoying about this. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time we look at these. See you later.